With her right hand pressed against cold steel, Dr. Kowalski guided herself through the darkness. Her steps forward were apprehensive shuffles. She had a sleeping mask over her eyes, but she found herself wishing she had brought a gas mask as well. No one ever told her what this thing smelled like, but no one who got this close to it lived to tell. Once, when Danielle Kowalski was a young child, she was afraid to go in the ocean. Her mother had warned her about stingrays, and the fear of stepping on one had put her off swimming for more than a few years. Her father, though, he believed people should be forced to face their fears. He taught her how to shuffle her feet so the stingrays would know she was coming, and they'd just swim away. Dr. Kowalski wondered if her father would have regretted teaching her to be brave if he had ever known the career path that bravery had opened up for her. She could hear it now, its labored breath that seemed a mix of a whimper and a death rattle. She desperately hoped not to accidentally touch it. Another step forward. Either Dr. Kowalski was close enough to feel the heat of its breath, or the tension was setting her blood on fire. The instant camera in her left hand was unwieldy. She hoped she didn't drop it because she wouldn't dare try to pick it back up. Snap. But no flash. If she could see the flash, then she'd be in real danger. This kind of stingray doesn't swim away. The process was painfully slow. Step forward, step back. Turn the camera up, turn it down. On this day, this particular site was receiving its first official visit from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. After Japan, after the Foundation fell under the spotlight of every journalist on the planet, the world was surely about to change. With no hope of ever having something so useful as Dr. Bright's amulet, the photograph she had taken would have to suffice.
You've wasted an hour of my time already, Dr. Kowalski. I'm sure you know what the next part of an interrogation consists of, due to your former line of work. So I would think it to be in your best interest if you would stop feigning ignorance and tell me where the SCP-610 specimens are stored. You are the senior researcher on that project, you know.
The uninvited man who spoke these words inside Dr. Kowalski's apartment had burnt through 3 cigarettes since the interrogation had begun. Yes, her life was in danger, but she couldn't help feel most upset about the fact that the smell of his smoke was going to sink right into her furniture and carpet. Her eyes had been turned downward through most of this. It wasn't that she couldn't look a man in his eyes and lie. She was quite effective at doing that well. She just didn't think he was worthy of it. This man, who introduced himself as Agent O'Brien, liked to smile. He carried the demeanor of a battle-hardened general and looked the part. Short gray hair, a square jaw, and a tall build. His patience for the former Foundation researcher was waning too, though the 2 masked lackeys he brought along kept as still as statues, waiting and watching.
Let me ask you, Agent O'Brien, have you been so busy trying to find me that you haven't even kept up with the news? Does the Berlin Accords against weaponized anomalies ring a bell for you, asshole?
O'Brien stared past her glasses, past her icy blue eyes. He stared straight through her. Then he commanded one of his underlings.
Hold her arm.
The masked man moved forward and grabbed Kowalski's wrist. O'Brien seized the middle finger of her left hand at the base and drove the thinnest knife he had under her polished fingernail. Kowalski flailed a bit, trying not to scream. But she did. And her heart raced as she knew this would get much, much worse.
The Kremlin hasn't ratified it yet, so I don't think the Senate will be too keen on doing that either. Let me be clear. The Russians have everything they need to weaponize that skin disease all around Lake Baikal. You don't think it's reasonable for the United States government to want to understand what could be used against us? Hell, I don't care what you think we're going to do with it. I want those specimens.
When Kowalski had finally caught her breath and stifled her urge to scream out in pain again, she pointed to her bedroom in her unharmed hand.
A bottom left drawer manila envelope.
O'Brien nodded to his men, who in less than a minute had noisily ransacked the room and returned with a manila envelope just as the researcher promised. O'Brien grabbed the envelope for a look inside. His satisfaction quickly faded.
What are these?
He began littering the floor with photographs. Now Kowalski would definitely keep her eyes turned up. O'Brien paused before discarding one, just long enough to have a good, long look.
I don't think this ugly guy with a twisted jaw has anything to do with what I asked you for.
Angry, he put out his latest cigarette on Kowalski's neck. She gasped as the agonizing burn momentarily left her breathless.
Let me tell you a story, because I think your foundation sure thought they were powerful hiding in the shadows, but I'd like to explain to you why you're wrong.
He pulled up a chair from her kitchen table and sat down across from her. Kowalski would endure whatever tale this tool wanted to spew. She only needed to wait now.
When I was up and coming, I was a DEA agent in Colombia in the late 80s, part of the team hunting down Pablo Escobar. I had a narco in custody, and this little guy was every bit as uncooperative as you are now. He kept repeating, "Do you know who you're messing with?" He thought his cartel was all that. He insisted they owned all the law enforcement in Colombia, that they were the ones who ran Medellin. So I asked him, "If you run the city, why do you bury your money? Why do you have to smuggle your drugs? Surely," I said, "if you're in charge, you'd peddle your supply out in the open. You wouldn't tuck your guns." Then I pulled out mine and shot him in his kneecap. And as he bled all over the police station floor, I told him, "That's power. I don't hide my gun. It's right here for you to see." Doctor, your foundation hid in the shadows, but let me make it abundantly clear for you. The power was always ours. Your anomalies belong to us. Your research belongs to us. Your life belongs to us. So one more time, I'm going to ask you what you did with the 6/10 specimens, because the next finger of yours I take my knife to is coming off.
Sir, I think there's something outside.
The sound of a small stampede could be heard approaching. Dr. Kowalski smiled and looked her captor in the eye.
You want to see real power, O'Brien?
What in the name of...
After a few minutes of pandemonium and agony, it was quiet again. Eyes still shut tight. She felt her way to the front door. So much blood had soaked her carpet, every step she took made a sloshing sound. Never mind the cigarette smoke. The smell of what just occurred would never come out either.
Run along now, 096. There are worse monsters in this world than you.
Hey everyone. We at SCP Animated just wanted to say thank you again for watching our videos every week. The support everyone in this community has shown over the last couple months has been absolutely incredible. And we want to give a very special thank you to those that decided to donate to our Patreon page. We understand that times are hard financially for a lot of people right now. So we are unbelievably appreciative for every dollar pledged to us, especially these patrons, who are our highest donors this month. Blake, Michael, Rio, that saxophone guy, thank you so much. For those that haven't checked out the Patreon page yet, you can find the link in the description below. There are 5 different membership levels, all with unique perks, including sneak peeks at future episodes, exclusive Discord invites, and access to vote on which SCP will appear in upcoming videos. Also, make sure to tune in next week. Our episode is featuring a very special guest star. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys next week.